Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of the Wild User Interviews podcast with me, IVB. Today it is an honor to have with me Mario Rader, one of the most active contributors to the Near ecosystem, developer at Orderly, Shitzu, a couple of hobby games, and more, perhaps. Welcome Mario.
Hey, nice to be here.
Thanks so much for joining me again. We did record a first podcast and we had some technical issues. I'm really grateful for you being back.
Yeah, of course. We also did not talk enough about Shitzu. So
Enough.
we had
The key word.
we had to record something again anyway.
I'm excited to have you because the extent of your contributions have led to the public demanding we name one of the shards on the Near protocol the Raider shard, alluding to your surname. I think that's a nice hook. With that, why don't you start telling me, before we get into Shitzu, but I promise we will talk about it this time, why don't you start telling me how you got into Web3?
I can talk about that. So I've been hearing a lot about Web3 in the past already, but I was not really interested. I think it started at university when people started mining Bitcoin on their GPUs and also trying it out, but I don't know, I never got into it. And then, like at my last job, I've been looking a lot into WebAssembly because I've been mostly doing front-end development. And then this new technology came out called WebAssembly, which was promised to let you do the more computational heavy things in the browser and also maybe for gaming and stuff like that. And so I wanted to look into that and been trying out a couple of technologies that can compile to WebAssembly back then, but there haven't been too many possibilities. And I didn't really want to use C and C++, so I've been looking into AssemblyScript and Rust later. And some of this is how I started to learn Rust because, I don't know, it's a really good programming language. And I don't know, like I really I can totally understand why Rust became so popular, and I really want to continue working with Rust for the unforeseeable future.
Have you spoken with Vlad Frolov about Rust?
No, not with him personally, but I've seen on Twitter where he has been asking what is the programming language of Web3 or something, and obviously I voted for Rust.
It's a self-selection bias because I think that his crowd is a Near and people program a Near in Rust, but he loves Rust. I was going to say something very inappropriate, but anyway, Rust is like his passion. And I know that he goes to like Rust meetups and Rust conferences. So it'd be real interesting for you to connect. And I wish as a non-tech person, I could understand what makes Rust unique. If we have to give it attributes, what does Rust have that other languages don't? Or how does Rust make you feel that other languages don't? What can you build on Rust that other languages don't?
I think you can only understand why Rust is so good when you have been using other programming languages and felt the pain with them. And like the main reason why Rust is so good is because you get most of the problem solved at compile time. And not just that, there are a couple of things you can do in Rust that are so much easier to do than in other programming languages like parallel programming. I just really need to compare it to other languages to know why it's so good.
Fair enough. I am working my way out with because I was doing free code camp, so like from the beginning, it's like a full stack course. But I'd already done a little bit of Python, and I think I know what you mean because after doing Python, HTML, and CSS, I was like a piece of shit. It was, the code was very heavy, and just to get like a small thing, I don't know, I love that Python is very direct, and there's like a ton of libraries, and it's very easy to read. So I'm now back to Python, and hoping Python is a future language of AI. I think that was the last poll that Vlad posted.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I'm curious, which university and what did you study?
I studied computer science in Kaiserslautern, Germany, technical university.
Okay.
It's in the south with Germany. It's not a very big city, but I think the university is relatively big.
Were you the only student? You're the only student?
No, we were at the beginning, we were like maybe 80 or 90, but they've been filtering out a lot.
So it's getting
Became
smaller.
much less. Yeah, yeah, it's not like in US, you pay a shitload to study, and then also most people will complete it. But since it's free in Germany, like there are much more people applying for these fields, and so this is why they need to check who can really make it.
Also,
Another thing about Rust, but because you've been mentioning Python, the tooling for Rust is basically built into the language. Like it's not the language, but the tooling. There's one command line tool called Cargo, and Rust just ships with the command line tool, and the building and the testing and the linting and so on. It all built into the installation of Rust basically. And if you like want to do things like Python or even more JavaScript, TypeScript, then there are like 10,000 tools that you have to pick from. And you honestly, if you start with those things, you don't know what you should be doing.
yeah, that's a good point. I've also seen Vlad sharing a lot about the near CLI Rust. I've learned how to use a CLI. I just literally don't know which one I have. I'm assuming I've got the not Rust one because there's a passion when he shares what you can do with the CLI, like the way that it explains things to you or that you can rerun a transaction. Have you been keeping up with that?
Yeah, I've been using it.
How is it different from the other CLI? Should I shift over? Do I need to know Rust to use the other one?
If you still use the JavaScript version, then you should definitely switch to the new Rust version. Yeah, it has an interactive command line interface. So you just, if you don't know what you can do, you just start typing near, press enter, and then it gives you all the information that you need.
No way, for real?
Like interact with it, right? Or interact with an account.
I should probably create a Patreon just to open source or make public my chats with ChatGPT. I'm a disgrace. I'm stuck in a folder. How the fuck do I get myself out of this folder? Just setting up my environment. I actually sent a message to Alan from Metapool. I was like, dude, I'm trying to submit a logo for whatever. It was literally like a GitHub pull request. And I don't know, I can't do it. My terminal is logged into a different GitHub account and there's no way getting out of it. I'm like, fuck it. I'll just die with that account or get a new computer. Like, I struggle with the silliest shit. Then yeah, I think of giving up every day. I'm not gonna lie, but still trying.
Yeah, Git is definitely something. It's one of the things every programmer will use, most likely. So yeah, you definitely don't hope you give up.
Do you reckon your German university would have accepted me?
Oh, you don't learn Git on university. You just
complete. If I can't handle Git, what does it say about the level of proficiency needed for the rest of the course? Yeah. That's why we have charity. Anyway, Mario, I love that you're German because you're very precise. You were a little bit late for the podcast recording and you almost gave me the minutes and the seconds that you were going to be late by. It's something that I've always find very fascinating about Germans. I had a friend, we went out drinking in Canada. I had some good old Venezuelan rum and we went out to buy supplies, Coke and ice, like Coca-Cola. He asked me how much rum per glass goes in so that he could calculate how much Coca-Cola to buy. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You drink until you run out, and then I guess you drink on the rocks, and then I guess you drink from the bottle. Like, it's a very different way of thinking. That also ties into being more technically minded, maybe being less social, gossipy. I don't think you pick up petty fights. So I think you do pick up fights, but you don't pick up petty fights. So I think you'd be the best person to give me the real story about shit. Go back from the beginning, day one. What did people do with their fingers? And then how did it evolve into the community? And who were the dark forces that were fucking us every chance they got till about today? Let's go.
Okay. I haven't been joining the Shitzu community from the very beginning, I have to admit. And I also haven't been minting, but like the day it started, it was like the April 1st, 22, I think. And Bastion launched this meme campaign where they added a button to their website where you can mint a worthless token back at the time called Shitzu, and everyone has been hitting that button all day. I don't know how long it took. Was it like exactly 24 hours? I'm not sure, but yeah, I guess so. And yeah, then like I think 574 million Shitzu have been minted in that period. And yeah, I think it was sufficiently decentralized already. Like, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think it did skew towards some wallets having a lot. Because what was really
Yeah.
interesting is proof of work, Bitcoin, expensive miners, proof of stake, near on the modern blockchain, you lock your assets. The Bastion team was like, how do we make this shit coin called Shitzu? Let's make people work for it. It has to be proof of something. So I think they did proof of finger. And I don't want to speculate, but I'm pretty sure that's the day that the Aurora blockchain has had the most traffic and the most users. And yeah, the speculation was, what's the deal with this coin? Like, is there ever going to be anything behind it? And the Bastion team was true to their word. They never did anything with it. And I think there was a community takeover afterwards. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, there was a community takeover. There were like a couple of other people involved back then. There was some drama. Like there's an old Twitter Shitzu account. There's also a Discord, maybe also an old Telegram. I don't know, but some of the had been handled by the bad actors, if you want to say so. Yeah, I'm not very sure what they did, or maybe they've just been dumping. But
I think at some point someone tried to create a new contract for no reason whatsoever and grab themselves way more power or something. I might be confusing things, but yeah, there was definitely a rip in that community. And yeah, sorry, I'll let you keep going.
Yeah, okay. Maybe more about me from the early days, but
because I'm in for the drama. You came in to code, I came in for the drama. That's why we're like teamwork.
Yeah. Oh, at some point I noticed there was always this one person on Twitter who liked all my tweets. And it was like either it was Shitzu community or it was Trefbori, or not sure how to pronounce it, but AGT.
AGT.
Yeah, he has been liking all my tweets, and I was always wondering who is that first. But
that explains so much, because he used to like all my tweets and then he stopped. Now he like all yours. Oh, I'm not gonna say I'm getting jealous, but joking. He's actually being amazing at supporting the ecosystem. Like, I get the best definition of a backhole. Like, he's got Near's best interest at heart, and he's very active in identifying who's doing things, how to support them, how to elevate them. And he's been there since the beginning. I think AGT is one of the people that I've known since 2021, maybe 2022. So yeah, he's an absolute legend. And there was a time where I was thinking like AGT could be doing more. Like, he's being around, he knows everyone, he's got the energy. But now I'm realizing he's doing Shitzu. Like, he's actually channeled all that community and all the energy into this project, which is why it's so fascinating to see it evolve over time, because it goes from being a joke to being a crazy shit fight to now being fucking amazing. So let's keep going through the timeline and see, when do you come in, what do you find when you arrive, and how do things evolve?
yeah, so AGT was definitely one who kept Shitzu alive all the time throughout the bear. And at some point I started chatting on their Telegram, and then somehow AGT had this awesome idea. He just sent me a shitload of Shitzu to give me skin in the game as a developer. And then he was just hoping, just do something with Shitzu.
Well, how much did he send?
I think it was
Don't mind sharing.
Yeah. No.
Recently won! And that, friends, is a value add of a developer and a shit talker. Depresso. Anyway, keep going. I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so he sent me these Shitzu, and then I started looking into how we can improve things. And the main problem was that Shitzu was stuck on Aurora because of how the Rainbow Bridge works. And there was basically, there's no native way to use the Rainbow Bridge to bridge an ERC20 that is deployed on Aurora to bridge that to any other chain. Because Rainbow Bridge only works from near to Aurora or from Ethereum or between Ethereum. But ERC20 from Aurora to near is not possible.
For new assets.
Yeah, so you can bridge an NEP 141 from near. You can bridge that either to Aurora or to Ethereum. It's actually a completely different technology, but both of them are called Rainbow Bridge. Yeah, but you cannot bridge an ERC20 from Aurora to near because of technical limitation. You can say so. And yeah, but like Aurora also has been working on the interoperability part to near. And they also developed an SDK to facilitate that. And I've been looking into that SDK a lot because of my work at Orderly Network, I have been developing a spot order book and wanted to have also the possibility to use it from Aurora. And I've been using the Aurora SDK to deploy something on Aurora and interact with a smart contract that is deployed on Near. And it has been working, so I got all these information about the Aurora SDK, and I've been just using that same SDK for the migration from Aurora to Near for the Shitzu token.
So this SDK is a cross-contract call SDK, yeah? Remember, yeah. I was at ETH Denver 2020, the one that we had the main day, the full day on the main stage. I think they announced it then, or they released it then. And if I remember correctly, you were the first person to use the SDK to do a contract call starting in Aurora into Near. Because I think that up until then, all the contract calls had been started on Near going into Aurora. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Ref Finance has been doing stuff already before they released the SDK. On Ref Finance, you can also interact with Tree Solaris. Yeah, but they developed their own solution for this, which is really similar to how the SDK works. And the SDK just makes it easier to use that same approach.
So technically, Ref was first, but technically, you win.
Ref has been doing Near to Aurora interaction, but no one has been doing Aurora to Near until, I think, not least something on mainnet, I think, yeah.
And before we touch on the Shitzu bridge, is there anything else you can tell me about this spot order book and the nature of the interaction between Aurora and Near? Are you raising money?
No.
You want to share me something?
So I've been developing the spot order book, and an on-chain spot order book. Orderly already had a spot order book at the time, which was not fully on-chain. They only have the asset manager contract where you can deploy and withdraw your fund, and then our off-chain indexer receives the information about your balance, and then you can interact with the order.
Is that what they call CLOB? CLOB?
Yeah.
What is CLOB?
I think it's called a centralized limit order book.
Doesn't sound very good. CLOB sounds better. Yeah. So you're doing a GLOB, decentralized limit order book?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if DC stands for centralized right now, but
I hope it's something else, because centralized is a bit of a mood killer.
Yes. I'm not sure yet, but the one I developed is fully decentralized. But we never released it because of market conditions, and also like the main reason is you need market makers to provide liquidity for the spot order book to be usable. Because you cannot rely on users to provide enough liquidity, you need someone professionally doing that. And this is why you have to pay the market makers to provide that liquidity. And this means you need to earn more fees to pay those market makers to make it profitable and show that feasible to launch that order book.
Market makers are expensive. It's very expensive.
Yeah. So it's still closed source, but they have been asking me to open source it, but there's just so much stuff going on right now on Orderly that I did not yet prioritize it. But I will definitely do so at some point, and then we will open source it.
I can see how a market maker would be needed if you want to have a real exchange. But what if we launch like a Memecoin order book exchange? Because it'd be a lot easier. Obviously, the risk of having not a very well managed order book is that the market makers elsewhere are just going to come and raid you. But if you have like smaller markets where you can actually become the main market, I reckon it could be fine. In fact, you could launch it as like the Shitzu order book and then add some meme coins and just see how it goes. I think it could be fun. Just to see something new. I do so much degenerate stuff on DeFi across all of Web3 that sometimes I'm wondering, like, where are the DeFi innovations in here? We're going to get the fucking AI manager that's going to put you out of a job and maybe help me with my ADHD before we get a new DEX in here. That's crazy. Like, we need something new.
Yeah, I totally agree. There aren't many or no new DeFi project at all. Already, actually, like a couple of minutes ago, I think I've been reading about this new liquid staking protocol that has been launching on Near. But
All stake or something. Yeah, I looked at it too. They were following me, but I wasn't following them.
I will look into that one. But yeah, there's not a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, because even if are you familiar with Gamma? Something that they do?
Gamma exchange.
I think so. Yeah, they do like liquidity management for, I think they started with Uniswap v3, but basically order book stuff. So you crowdsource a capital and they, with the know-how and whatever software they may have, they basically manage that position. Because that kind of, even just concentrated liquidity, it's, if you don't know what you're doing, it's actually very easy to either lose money or just not make money. It can be very hands-on. Interesting enough, Ref is moving much more into that concentrated liquidity model. I believe they'll be enabling people to create any pool like permissionlessly. So maybe when that exists, we'll see other players like these decentralized concentrated liquidity managers coming in, and there always seems to be like a catalyzer, right? Like what goes out there that invites other people to play, not just with that thing, but to build around it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think Gamma has been starting with concentrated liquidity. Not sure what they're doing now, but yeah, on Orderly EVN, we also have Elixir, which have been integrated. They also have some wall where you can just deposit your asset and then we will provide the liquidity on our Orderly.
So give me the insights, because after I got my Orderly airdrop, thank you to whomever was in charge of that.
Yeah.
That's how I'm paying my way to Brussels. So after my Orderly airdrop, I was like, I wasn't really that active. I was more degenerate before. So I looked into Elixir, and the vaults say that the APY is estimated to be around 20%. But dude, I've got some PTSD. I don't know if you were around from the era of, I think it's called NEC, NECC.
Yeah, of course I know that.
Dude, I don't think I've recovered financially from that one yet. And so I'm very mindful of, yeah, sure, you're providing liquidity, but if some big whale comes in and have a massive winning trade, that's your pool money that he's taking. So I don't know, do you think it's like profitable? Is it at least safe, quote unquote? Because I don't mind not making money, but I don't like losing money, dude. Losing money.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there are statistically more people losing money than winning money by trading. So in average, it's a net positive game you play when you provide the liquidity there, would be my assumption. But
yeah, I believe that when I put my money in and lost it all. But in NEC, somehow one guy, just one winner takes all. It was horrible. Maybe the pool sizes weren't big enough. I think they had some snafu with the oracles. Whatever the issue was, I've got trauma. I need probably therapy, but in reality, ayahuasca.
I'm not sure if we talk about the same neck. It wasn't neck, the protocol which was like following the star with the risking. But I think you
No.
were talking about perpetual market.
Yeah. This was like
Mm.
perps, and you could deposit money and get some CDP, and then they paid fees. Like, dude,
Yeah.
on paper, technically, it was a brilliant business model. And I think that's why there's so many dexes now. I was playing with Satori. I saw someone sharing Cube. There's one on Sui called Bluefin. Everyone's launching a perp. I think half of them are GMX forks. And everyone's mining points, because I guess that fuck it, you hand over some worthless points and you're raking in the fees. And it's all good and if you have some 16-year-olds that have no idea what they're doing. But dude, if Zoran Cole shows up, we're all fucked.
Yeah, you probably just have bad luck. Like, technically, I think the more volume that per order book generates, the more it averages also your gains for providing the liquidity. But it just lowers the risk, of losing money.
Fair enough. I want to go back to Shitzu. There's a lot more things on the timeline that I think we should cover. But before we jump into some of the technical developments, which are pretty cool, even up until like yesterday, I'm curious, how do you see the role of meme coins? Like, Shitzu was created and it's been around since before all this crazy meme coin mania, mostly in Solana, Ethereum, a little bit on Near. I'm curious to see what your personal views are on meme coins. Like, do you ape into anything that moves? Are you selective? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? What's the future?
So maybe this is because I'm German, but I think before Shitzu, I never bought any meme token. I was just not interested. It was not my kind of style that I would have wanted to invest into. I really rather to invest into fundamental things and not memes. And now with Shitzu, I mean,
would that be the part that you think is very German? Go for the fundamentals, less fun.
Yeah, I think so.
Fair. I didn't say it, you did, but
I still don't really buy meme tokens. So the only meme tokens I buy are Shitzu and Intier.
Wow, we're getting onto the spicy bit. See, 40 minutes in. It's always a 40-minute mark. That's my job. Talk shit for 40 minutes, and then we get to the good part. So can you expand on that? Like, first, how would you define fundamentals? What would people be looking at in general? And then what is it about Shitzu and Intier that ticks that box for you?
Yeah, I would say regarding fundamentals, if it's just a meme and it's only driven by marketing, then there are like no fundamentals at all. You only can have fundamentals if you build a product that people want to use, and that product should also generate some fees. Otherwise, also, like, what product do you even have if you don't generate fees? Like, there needs to be a way to earn money with your product. Otherwise, it's worthless.
So what are the fundamentals in Shitzu and Intier?
Yeah. Let's first start with Intier, because I mentioned them as well. I think Slime Dragon is their founder and also developer. He just launched it without even thinking. He just went to the token farm and launched it without having a plan to get like more into this project in the future. But somehow people have been buying it. I think it was like somewhat similar to my story where AGT just sent me 10 million of Shitzu. And the same for Slime Dragon. He has now the skin in the game and he wants to make it successful. And I think he's a good developer and I like the stuff that he's building and that he planned. The bot, for example, with the revenue model, the AI Oracle stuff that he is building. I think those are great.
I think there's a pattern here. Have you picked the two projects with the two coins that each have a strong developer? Because in a strong developer, there is the ability to build things that can generate value to users, whether it solves a problem for you or actual economic value. And then you tie that back into the community and the coin. Would that be an accurate perception?
Yeah, I think that would be very accurate.
Interesting. Because some people would say, one of the devil's advocate here, I'm not easy on my guests. People think this is all fun and games. I've got people outside your house now if things get bad. Some people would argue that engineers are terrible at product and like business and marketing and things that tend to fall further out of the technical scope. What would you say to that?
Yeah, this is totally true. And also, this is why Shitzu is the perfect fit for me, because before Shitzu, I've been developing my own stuff and I could manage all the marketing and such things. I've already been overwhelmed with the development of this project that I've been trying to develop in my free time, and I still will do, by the way. But with Shitzu, it's just I already have all the people that will do the marketing for me, and I can just develop stuff for them, and it's just perfect. This is exactly what I want to do.
I think you've nailed it. You inherited a really good brand. Shitzu is just great. Like the visuals, the name. There's a very passionate group of people there that are very eager to push things. And the way that I see it, because it was traditionally not very tech driven, they really value having technical talent that is able to build stuff. Even small things like shit, we've got a validator. Maybe that's table stakes for someone that knows how to do tech. But for this community, it's look at me, I don't know how to use a fucking CLI. Having a validator to your community name, that's amazing. Especially if you put in the context of a very young network. Near, from in most ways you look at it, it's still very centralized. You have all the core team, you can identify the validators, institutional providers. Like for grassroots communities to be able to contribute towards security and have a validator, that's pretty cool. I think that we're getting to a magic formula here. Find a good dev who is shit at marketing, give them a ton of your shitcoin, and then propose an alliance. You keep tinkering and doing stuff with the machines, and we'll just pump it over here, and hopefully things work out.
Yeah, totally. It's the perfect plan. Yeah, I think the things are looking right for the future. There will be some announcement very soon.
I want all the alpha. I need you to pump the value of this podcast. I'm trying to get some sponsors. We need alpha. We need controversy.
Yeah.
We need fucking Baron Trump. I'll get anyone right now.
Yeah. Should I already start with the alpha, or should we also talk about what we've been developing until now? Because there are like also so many things we've been developing. And
look, I have zero structure, but I'll let you take control. And I like your plan. Let's first have that build up and that momentum of all the things that have been building up until now. And once people are all fired up, we drop some alpha. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah, we've been talking about the migration, and yeah, it was fully permissionless, and we didn't plan to close it until soon. So you always had the ability to migrate your tokens from Aurora to Near using a BOSS front end, just a small component that I developed. Once that was done and we had Shitzu on Near, I could start doing all the stuff on Near, which is what I want to do. I don't want to develop EVM stuff.
What do you remember off the top of your mind what some of the stats or the bridge were? How long was it open for and how much was migrated?
I think it was open for 4 or 5 months now, or maybe even a little more. I think it was at the beginning of the year where we opened the migration. And at the very beginning, we had the active community bridging over all the Shitzu. But there were a lot of wallets that are dormant and no one knows who those tokens belong to or those wallets. And yeah, the migration has been stagnant a little bit, but later, yeah.
But those technically are not the problem. The problem is the wallets that are active or that can become active to then dump on the nascent and growing Near community. Because that was a challenge, right? Okay, we've migrated. Basically, new identity, new project. There's all these new amazing things. And it felt like there were these people from the past who were like, oh shit, I have this bag that is suddenly going up in price. And every time there were milestones or wins on the near side, more Shitzu just crossed the bridge, dumped. So it was very hard to capture that value in a fair way. That's how I perceive it.
Yeah, that's the reason why we closed the bridge. There are still many dormant wallets folding the old Shitzu, and we wanted to remove the rest of the dormant wallet to become active again, because they're not part of our community and they won't care at all about Shitzu, and they will just bridge and dump it in. There was no value for us to keep the
I suspect in the future, we can have a wager if you want. There will be a podcast guest that says it wouldn't be the reason why they come on. What they will say, fuck me, I had all this Shitzu on Aurora and I forgot. His Shitzu was what? 300,000 market cap by the time the bridge closed. Now it's up to 450. I reckon Shitzu will hit 10 million. And I don't know how many X that is. Clearly I can't do maths. But when you have that much increase, your worthless Shitzu on Aurora now will seem much more valuable. But you missed out. The bridge is closed. What are you going to do?
True, yeah. Let's see how many people will come back too late. It's all governed by our DAO. I don't know what could be possible. Everything.
Nah.
But
don't give me no DAO bullshit. Any complaints, direct to you.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's decentralized because the DAO is deciding on the future, not me. But yeah, I think we will not open it again.
That's a really cool feature. I don't know, you guys, the possibility of what?
Maybe, just saying, maybe there would be, for example, the possibility to do an OTC deal, or if one of the true OGs comes back and he totally forgot about it, or I don't know. I think it's really unlikely that we'll change something on the token.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah. We need stability, we need predictability.
Yeah.
The narrative of what 46% of the tokens got burned, it's amazing. I've got some shit, so I haven't checked the price, but pump that shit. I just bought an apartment.
Yeah. So now that the bridge is closed, we no longer have the problem of dump up.
Awesome. So the first thing that was built to enable all the near side has just reached its first milestone and conclusion. What else has been built on near since the bridge was opened?
The next thing was that we had our NFT launch, and it was really successful. I think it was sold out in 2 minutes on Bodega, and there is a total supply of 1,000 NFTs, and the mid price was too near. Yeah, and right now I think the floor price is around 3 point something. And yeah, with that NFT, like when the NFT launched, well, we didn't promise anything for the future, but
never promise anything or you'll be in prison with Gary Gensler and Martin Shkreli.
Yeah, but I planned to build something, but we didn't promise it. And then I've been looking for what could I build next for Shitzu, and I really think one thing that is underused on near is the validator pool staking contract, which was only used by Aurora. So if you stake your near with the Aurora validator, then you could earn Aurora token instead of near. And the way they've been doing it is that they have like basically 100% fee on all near staking rewards, and you get all your feedback in Aurora. But because Aurora is fluctuating maybe in some other price direction, then you could potentially earn more or less. And yeah, like Aurora was the only project that has been using this contract all the time. And there was no other project doing this.
I remember Jared, now head of content at the foundation, and Ilya having this conversation. I think it was NearCon 2022. Jared was blown away by these, as I understand it, very unique near validator setup. I think most of the chains validators are very straightforward. You just stake one asset, you get the rewards. And Jared has this vision where in the future, most of the big projects will have their own validator. And one of the ways in which they will distribute the token project is through people at stake with them. I'm actually wondering now why Hero Wallet isn't doing that. They've got their own validator now, and they're distributing the hot token. With the amount of users that they've amassed, they could probably pull them towards a validator, give them some hot tokens.
Yeah, it is somewhat maybe a net negative game for whoever runs stuff, because if you want to provide more APR than a regular validator, then you have to send more of your tokens as rewards that you will earn from the fee, obviously. But you can like also compare it to some way of selling your token for premium, maybe. But yeah,
Selling token would be the right way to look at it. It's hard to look at the APY because you're looking at the APY at the time of distribution. And unless you sell immediately, which is not really what the project wants, then is that APY really relevant? For instance, let's say hypothetically, somebody has an Aurora thesis. Truly deflationary, as in there's 1 billion coins, there's not any new being minted. Near started at 1 billion, we've got 5% inflation. With Aurora, they've got the gas fees that go into the contract, whatever. In theory, if used increases over time, and if Aurora is not going to go anywhere, especially with Stargate and other dependencies, some people may say, fuck it, this is very cheap now, but maybe in 10 years' time, it will be worth something. I want to accumulate. I can see a project that makes it so that the only way to get their token is through mining. Like they may not have a token generation event at all. Hey, just stake with us. Help us accumulate as much Near as possible while also Near is cheap. And we can use that to subsidize a lot of the user transactions. There's a lot more considerations there because what I find is usually when you make the APY really high, people that go for it also want to realize it immediately. So as soon as the coins come in, you have to sell them. And then you're like, oh shit. Like you can't be angry at people if they sell something that you gave it to them, no strings attached, but also, yeah, be curious to have more conversations around that long-term alignment between the token holders and people wanting to help the project grow.
It's definitely a really good way to bootstrap your token or to launch token. And I think more projects should check out this approach.
I am staking with the Shitzu validator just because I like the project. I like you guys. I want to see the Shitzu treasury grow. If you're in the Shitzu community or the Black Dragon community, you definitely know. But for people that don't know, we actually had a bit of a disagreement in the past, precisely because of my commitment to Shitzu and my desire to see the treasury grow. So Ref Finance has a Memecoin competition. By the way, it's like the easiest fucking way to make money in the ecosystem. There's not many people taking advantage of it. Go check it out if you're interested. And the dynamics are super simple. There's one stage where you vote with the staked ref or XREF, and there's a second stage where you vote with your Memecoin. The first stage is used to determine how much ref you get, and the second one, how much Near you get. And the APYs are super high. All I proposed was, hey, let's move all the Shitzu from the treasury into voting, which you did. So Per's proposal was good. It made sense. Thank you for taking initiative. The rest of the DAO were busy with real jobs. I get it. I'm the only one that's unemployed. But the second proposal was more controversial. All I said was, we were going to fuck the Black Dragon. We're not doing anything with it. It was like 15,000 at the time. All I said was, sell a little bit, buy more Shitzu to pump up the price, because it's actually looking at the total valuation of the project. So you could deposit all the Shitzu in the world, but if Shitzu is only worth 400,000, you're still capped on how much you can get. Dude, if between now and the next Memecoin cycle, Shitzu goes to 800,000, the amount of Near reward from the Memecoin competition ref also double, assuming all things are equal for the other projects. So it was very strategic, and strategy, well implemented, is what some people think it's evil. To each their own. Anyway, there was a crazy shit fight. Black Dragon blocked me and the podcast, by the way. I think they've unblocked it now, but I was paying attention. That felt personal. And anyway, long story short, no one sold anything. The D word was misused and not acted upon. There was no dumping. There was no nothing. I forgot what the fuck I was trying to say with all of these. But yeah, healthy treasury, good.
Yeah, also some backstory to our treasury. Migrated at the very best time possible to near, because it was at that time when all these other meme tokens have been popping up on near, like Black Dragon Long and all the others. Yeah, and because Shitzu is the OG meme community on near, all of them decided to donate a large amount of their token to our DAO treasury, which is why our treasury is so big now. And
which is insane. Like, how much is a Shitzu treasury now? It's over 100,000 last time I checked.
yeah, it's fluctuating a lot. Like, it depends on the price of Black Dragon mostly, because I think 70% of our treasury is Black Dragon.
And you can't touch it because they get angry and sensitive. We're a free market. I don't like shitting on friend, but I'm just
We
saying.
are allowed to touch it, but we are only allowed to touch it for a good cause. So, for example, for some redistribution into our community, for example. So there are, in fact,
I didn't propose to transfer me the money to buy a hut in the Caribbean. I would if I thought it was reasonable, but I don't think it is reasonable. Look, even now, you could sell $1,000. They've got like what, 600,000 liquidity.
Yeah.
And then you pair the 1,000 you sold now in near with another 1,000 of Black Dragon, and the Shitzu treasury itself enters into the ref Memecoin competition. Then you're going to be getting, I think it's over 100% APY, and whichever use case you decide to give that in the future, at least now the treasury is using what would have been idle assets to participate in this competition. Is that crazy? I just thought about that, but I think it's a pretty good idea.
I am helping to manage the treasury a little bit. So in theory, you could do all these function code on chain with DAO proposal. And I've been doing it at the very beginning, staking our Shitzu and staking our Black Dragon in the ref meme competition. But it's too error prone that now we just send it to one of my wallets and I'm just managing it via the UI, which
we trust.
Yeah, there is some trust involved, unfortunately. But you can check out the wallet.
Everyone does the same thing. Ref does the same thing. Borrow does the same thing. We do the same thing with Nearcock. Like, the tooling definitely needs to improve for DAOs to be able to transact directly, especially if some of the DAO members are non-technical, because you're going to ask people to vote on something that they don't have the ability to check if the JSON is correct. So if there's an error,
they have no idea.
How do you hold? Well, yeah, how do you hold people accountable if they have no idea what the fuck they're signing?
Yep.
Now, Writer, are we done with the technical advancements? Because I'm sweating, mostly because it's like 35 outside, but also you said alpha, and I'm not going to let you go until we get some alpha. So how are we going covering the technical developments, and how close are we to the space?
Like, you're really close. I think when you release the podcast, then the news will already be out. This is how close we are already.
This is an example of German precision in your head. I was asking to how close we are within the podcast of you revealing the alpha. And I think that in your head, you went to the precise launch date of that actual alpha. See, the thing is, if I find out when the alpha happened, it is not alpha. It's just something happened. If I found out at launch, that's not alpha. That's just great news for the community. But I need to know before everyone else. That's alpha to me.
Yeah. And if you can manage to release the podcast before we announce the alpha, then your podcast will also be alpha for the other.
We can definitely hold the podcast for as long as needed to make sure that the times sync. It would just be nice to share as much as you can now, because it's not only alpha, but you can also explain about it. It's actually a missed opportunity. If there's a big launch and you had a big media presence, if I may say so myself, but you didn't get the chance to talk about the new thing. So yeah, definitely talk about it openly, and we can hold the podcast as long as needed.
Yeah, sure. So it all started with the project on Solana called pump.fun. And I don't know, I think everyone has heard about it. It's a meme token launcher where you can launch a meme token, trade it pre-deck. And if it hits a specific market cap, then the contract will automatically create a liquidity pool on Radium, I think, and lock the liquidity and so on. The pump fund. And Near Foundation reached out to us because they've been looking for someone to develop a pump fund scale project.
I've heard the alpha. I know the alpha. I just didn't know who was doing it. It's been you all this time.
I think the original idea was from Didier from Pikespeak. He had this idea to launch a more fair version of Pump.fun. He had this idea to make a hybrid of like Pump Fun and Skyward. And that would work. But honestly, I've already been looking into Skyward and their contract, and like the original plan was to relaunch Skyward via Shitzu. But I think that will maybe no longer happen now. And I really like Skyward and how it works. And it's a really great permissionless launchpad. And it has a very unique approach for price discovery. But it's really complicated. And we wanted to have something soon enough on the market. So we will have another way to launch a fair meme token, which is just stake weighted. So you can stake your near on a soon to be launched meme token to increase its virtual market cap. And after, for example, the day, an oracle will check, is the market cap reached? And if yes, then all stakers will get distributed that meme token proportionally to their stake.
Is staking almost like validating that people want the coin, and it only eventuates once a certain threshold is met? Or
yeah, the threshold must be met after a given period of time. So it might be that you are above the threshold before the end of the period, but then people might unstake, and then you are again below that threshold, and then the meme token will not launch eventually.
And where does the initial liquidity come from? Because I would imagine everyone's going to dump the moment it launches.
The liquidity will come from the near that have been staked. So
the reward?
No, people basically buy the token by staking the near. So
they give it away.
Yeah,
they're not getting it back.
They will get it back if the meme token does not launch. But if the meme token launches, then they will receive the meme token instead of the near, because this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to buy.
Yeah.
So,
and does the near then migrate from the staking into the liquidity pool?
Yeah, it will automatically create a liquidity pool on your sign.
Wait,
with the near that has been staked by the users and with a portion of the.
Can you do it with like stake near? So it's easier. It's like asset in, asset out.
What do you mean with stake near?
In my head, if the contract takes near in, there's an extra step of having to delegate it to some validator. And then if the meme coin gets generated, there's two steps. One would be on staking the near, take some time, and then adding the near into a liquidity pool. I think that if you use a liquid stake token like ST near, you eliminate that second step of having to go in and out of a validator, because the near has already been staked.
I think it was not clear enough. With staking, I don't mean staking to a validator. I just mean depositing near into a smart contract. Like, for example, on Orderly, we have the asset manager contract. You can deposit near or...
I see what's going on here. Inside dealing with Orderly.
No, it's just for explaining. You just deposit your near into our smart contract. You don't state with a validation.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Why?
It's too nanny state. It's okay. Safeguards. If you're the only asshole that wants to buy this piece of shit, you can't. But if enough people think like you, groupthink, you all get your coin. But at that point, everyone gets at the same price. Who's gonna pump it?
Yeah, the idea is to have a fair launch pump protocol.
My understanding of Pump.fun, which I thought was brilliant, they're launching, last time I checked, like 18,000 coins a day, which is bonkers. But it's a super raw market discovery mechanism. It's almost like if you're schizophrenic, definitely don't check the shit out. Things are popping everywhere and moving. You can rank them by which one has been launched most recently, which one has been bought more recently. Like, it's super degenerate. But the cool thing is that the fairness from their point of view is 100% of the coin goes into a liquidity pool. So the team themselves don't have any allocation. And then I'm not entirely sure what the pricing model is. I would assume it's not as raw as you put in $1, you take half the thing. So it's some sort of a bounding curve. And only if it hits 75,000, is it 75,000 market cap? Seems low. Only after a certain threshold, it moves on to the main exchange, in this case Radium, and they lock the liquidity. So technically, if everyone buys in that first period, no one sells. Everyone buys in the first period. You hit the threshold, and then you move the liquidity and lock it. If I understand this correctly, and I'm probably making a mistake, I'm going to be, made fun of. But technically, everyone could sell, and they would still get the same amount back that they put in. They wouldn't get 1-to-1 what they put in. But net, if it rides back to zero, it can't ride back to zero because the liquidity is locked.
If the people sell in the exact reverse order that they bought, then they should get almost everything back. But they are also fee, like their trading fee. This is how they generate revenue.
So there are fees on the exchange and pump that fun. That revenue model, by the way, must be insane because they're making so much money. But did you see my point? Maybe we have a different idea of what the minimum would be to stake. Because if you do it really low, then it's fine. But if it's a little bit higher, then it's a little bit too safe. Not enough to generate.
Yeah. Like on pump fun, you have an insane advantage if you buy a token early. And which is
why people do.
Yeah.
No one goes there and tries to select between Solana slaves and all this crazy shit. No one chooses the one they like. They just go in and buy anything that crosses their paths early, hoping that somebody else buys it later. There's really not much thinking to it. Having a website and Twitter, very few do. We're talking about 18,000 coins a day. It's literally like shit. It's like a slot machine. Every time that your arm moves, you get a different outcome. Sometimes you strike gold, sometimes you don't. And maybe this is a different product, but Pump the Fun is definitely only fair in the sense that the team can't rug pull you and the team has to also buy. At least you put some money in if you want to get money out, but it's super degenerate. There's clearly some advantages for people to go in.
Yeah, totally. You've also been thinking about that and what the value proposition is and that we don't make it too fair.
What about if you gamify it? So say, sure, you put near in and you get your coin. But what if you can stake like the project's own token? Basically reduce the amount of people that can put near in or something like that. There needs to be a way to give people an edge. And there needs to be a way for the protocol to make money from allowing people to gain an edge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, we have a withdrawal fee. So we don't have a deposit fee. Like you can deposit for free.
For the near?
Yeah. But
if
you want to withdraw. We want to
you gotta no, but whose fault is it? No, I think you gotta extract money. You gotta extract value from people when they get value. If I put 10 year in, the coin never launches, I'm not getting value. If anything, charge money to the people that creates the coin, regardless of whether it launches or not. In fact, if it doesn't launch, double the fee, the penalty fee. You're like, fuck you for creating this bit of shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Totally. Like the idea is if you deposit and if the token doesn't launch, then you get back everything. Like there will not be a withdrawal fee if the meme token doesn't launch. There will only be the withdrawal fee during that period where it is uncertain if the token launched or not. And if you withdraw, then we get a fee, but we will also redistribute that fee to the current stakers.
Nah, this is shit. This is too French. This is some socialist. I don't like.
Okay.
I want to come in, tell everyone to fuck off and make money. I don't want to feel like I am equal to everyone else. I already do in society. Crazy thought, but I need a place to go and be a savage. Solana is that place for a lot of people. If you want to create something like that on near, it needs to be savage.
Okay.
But
yeah, we can talk about that also more.
I started working on a project at If Global London, and I'm nagging the dev because he's been very busy. Tons of progress. I've got like the specs, and he's looked at the contracts, and if or when it launches, you're gonna see what I mean by savage. Like, I really enjoy the human behavioral design element. To basically try to think of how one action is gonna influence like all the other people. So in any way that you go, there's 2 or 3 possible paths. So it's up to each individual agent to try to think what's best for them at that point, but that only really triggers somebody else to try to think what's best for them. And that's what makes it fun. It's predictable within a set of rules, but unpredictable on how other people are going to behave, luck, etc. That's what I really want to see. It's like Settlers of Catan, but unchained. Have you played Settlers of Catan?
Yeah, no.
I don't know how Germans play it, but Australians are like, fuck you, I'm not trading you shit. And every time you get to move the thing, you keep blocking the same person because they're winning. Some of the behavior is rational, some of it is irrational. There's a clear set of rules how to win, but in the way that people actually behave and bundle together and have fun or throw bottles at each other, that's a BYO. I like that level of, you can choose how to play.
Yeah, that's true.
What's ETA for the launch of this fair fun?
I'm still developing the smart contract. It's still in the early stage. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was around 3 weeks or so from now.
Oh, okay. That's all right. I was like, you're going to hold this podcast forever. ATT will kill me. We have to release something.
Yeah, but we just set up the social. The Twitter's already live.
Oh, shit. No way. What's it called? Look, most likely what I feel is going to happen is I'm giving you shit, but when I look at the marketing and the messaging, I'm actually going to like it. We'll just attribute it to engineers not being the best at selling. We'll see. I'll report back. I'll be making a YouTube video explaining people how to be degenerates. What's it called?
Fun.meme. And
meme or me?
Meme. Fun.meme. And also the Twitter is _funmeme. You should be able to find that. It has their own follower right now.
How many?
7.
Can you send me the link? Yeah, I don't. Those are 2 very common words. And it's gonna be under the Shitzu brand.
Yeah.
So the question is, how does Shitzu capture value? Is this gonna be insane value capture? Because Pamphlet Fund is making whatever millions in fees.
Yeah, like we have been discussing this a lot, whether we should launch it under Shitzu brand. But we, the Shitzu community, have been asked to develop this, and it just wouldn't feel right to not develop this for Shitzu. And Near Foundation is fine with it now that we will develop it as an official Shitzu project.
That makes sense. The only issue that I see is we need more tokens in the Near ecosystem. So I'm wondering if it could be launched as part of the Shitzu family, but this project has its own token, but then you do a really generous drop for Shitzu holders or something like that. Because we definitely need like new tokens, people that feel like they can get in. It's fresh, it's growing, just more trade volume, more pairs, more bots like your own. You're the number 1 trader of my liquidity pools.
Yeah, just improved it today. There was a new deployment. The arbitrage bot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've been fixing the bug. To go into the technical detail now of the arbitrage bot, but yeah. There are some other, there's just one other person running multiple arbitrage bots who like getting 95% of all the arbitrage game. We're having a hard time to get those arbitrage trades.
What really gives an edge to an arbitrage bot? Is it the way that it's coded, or like how can you beat someone else?
Yeah, that depends on the blockchain, but I think on Near it's probably more fair than on other chain because there's a randomization of in which order the receipts are executed. You send a transaction to swap something on Rev, then that transaction is converted into a receipt, which is already 1 block delay. And then we'll do the swap. You can how to get an advantage. What I've been doing right now is just set up more bot to increase the chance that I will land the arbitrage because the receipt, like the order of receipt, is just randomized. So it just depends on which receipt will be executed first. And if we all send the same transaction, then yeah, it's just random who will win. So whoever spams most might win. But
Crazy.
you cannot spam like on Solana because you have to pay for transactions that fail as well. Like on Solana, I think you don't have fees if the transaction failed. And this was like a major design flaw.
Oh, that's crazy. Are you serious?
Yeah, this is
You
why
can stamp Solana for free?
yeah, I think at least it used to be like that, or I think it still is. And yeah, like what the main reason why Solana didn't merge is because all the arbitrage swaps have the spamming.
Dude, even I barely know how to spell Solana, and I can tell that if you allow people to spam for free, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna ask old mate GPT, see what's happening.
but on here you have to pay. So
what about we create a Gamma style like liquidity aggregator, but instead of order books, we do arbitrage bot. So you can have a lot of people pool money, and this one team deploy a fuck ton of bots that are just competing against each other. But regardless of which bot wins, all the money goes back to the same pool.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that the arbitrage bot needs to be profitable that you are developing. And
because I've heard that there's about 24 token launches coming up this year. And maybe another assumption would be, I guess we're in a mini bear or like an uncertain bear, but I've heard that Q4 is going to be crazy. Like Q4 is up only. So maybe with those two assumptions, would the landscape for arbitrage bots be different in 3 months' time? Because we've got 3 months to set this baby up.
yeah,
When I say we, I mean you. I mean,
yeah, so right now the profit of my arbitrage bot has been down bad. But I did some really good improvements. The main improvement that I've been doing is in the V1 version of my bot, I just fetched all the rep pool and been checking all possible routes through all pools basically and check whether I can make a profit from a cyclic arbitrage by like trading rep near to something else to rep near at the end. So the input is rep near and the output is rep near. And if the output is higher than the inputs, then it's an arbitrage and it can be executed. And I just brute force all the possible route and inputs and find the one route with the highest profit. That's just how it works.
What if you were to change, let's call it a compound strategy, or maybe compound is not the right word, but like a 2-stage strategy. So one would be the analysis that you just mentioned. You start with near, you end with near. The final amount needs to be higher than the first one. But what if this could be a bot with an investment thesis? So say, for instance, we determine as a collective, hey, we reckon Bird is really cheap right now, or Shitzu, or Meta, any token really. You can, once again, develop an investment thesis. And you say, this bot not only will try to make a profit from trades, but all the money from the trades will go to accumulate X asset, or I guess you could also change it by making that the base asset of the strategy. I don't know exactly how it would be structured technically, but then the goal becomes for the bot to accumulate as much as possible for that asset. And ideally, if the thesis proves to be right over time, you get some capital gains on that asset, or maybe the asset gains some functionality. Like for instance, if you were to do it, say with a Meta token and now migrate it to MPDAO, you can stake that. If you do 300 days, the APY is somewhere between 40% and 80% paid out in ST near, depending on the value of the near at the day. So it could be a small thesis like that. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot of risk, a lot of uncertainty. But if you wanted to get some apes like me to put money into a fund for a bot that tries to grow a certain position, do it. I would AP in for sure.
Yeah, I think the problem with arbitrage spot is something different. You could do something like this, but the main problem with arbitrage spot is how you can make them publicly available. Yeah, you develop an arbitrage spot like me, and it's really hard to find a method to let users invest into this bot to make profits for them, because it's just one arbitrage bot who is as good as it is. But if there are more arbitrage bots running the exact same code, then you will just split the profits between all of the investors. So it doesn't really make sense to invest into an arbitrage bot. It only makes sense to develop an arbitrage bot, but not to invest in it.
We can do that. We can pool funds, hire a bunch of quants, and everyone runs a bot. I only mentioned it because my understanding was that with a randomization of the receipts, the more bots you were running, the more likely the transaction was to go through. And I just assumed that the more bots that you run, the more capital you need to back each one of those properly. But you're right, if it's the same code, maybe the volume is not that high. Look, I'm just throwing out ideas. If this makes sense to you or anyone listening, I'll dump some money into it. It doesn't have to be a good investment. I like to experiment stuff, and
let's see how my bot profits continue. I will also develop a dashboard, by the way, with a highlight. Yeah, it will show all the arbitrage gain of all arbitrage bots on near that are doing like arbitrage on Refine.
That's crazy.
I think today it's finished indexing, but I don't yet have a UI. I only have an API that you can. I can send you the link. You can play around with. You don't need technical knowledge to use it. You can click buttons and then you will see the profit.
I can click buttons as much as I can do, and I'm actually excited because I'm learning Python as the gateway drug to do AI stuff, and it's really cool that there's a very strong alignment with Near now, because I started with the Crew AI, CREW, and they basically have this like framework where you can create several agents and they work with each other. They've got some examples on how to automate all your social media and how to automate whatever basic tasks that people do now. And maybe, so I was really inspired to try to have a team of 2, 3, or 4, well, being just me. And the latest announcement from Skidnov about Near AI coming back and the AI manager, dev, etc. I was like, oh shit. Now we're combining the two worlds. We're combining the efficiency and the productivity gains of AI and you being able to have more control over it. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm looking forward to building a lot of the generate ideas I want to build. How do you feel about it? Because I can see my excitement coming from I've been held back by not having the technology knowledge or the funds to pay people to do all these different roles, even if they're not technical. AI agents seems like an opportunity. I'm curious how you see it as a developer yourself. Do you see opportunity, threat? Are you skeptical, bullish?
I think AI can facilitate many of these things. So yeah, I think I really need to explore it a lot more. I haven't really been using a lot of AI, to be honest. Not even in programming. I think programmers will never be replaced by an AI. We will only use AI to make our task easier.
Which is the best possible combination, right? Like you don't want to be replacing anyone. And how does AI keep getting better if the programmers no longer exist? I think definitely AI as an assistant, or a very smart assistant. It's the way that I see it. If you want, you gave me some alpha, I'll give you some alpha. And it's probably going to be public, definitely, if we have to hold off for the Shitzu announcement. They're joining the ecosystem development call this week. You should join this call, by the way. You should really be there. Near Horizon presented like the AI thesis or the structure of what they're working on now. And there's about 3 or 4 partnerships that come in at each one of those categories. Is like inference and synthetic models. So it's looking interesting. I wish I could tell you more. At the moment, I just have one tab open for each to go and learn more about it. But there should be an announcement this week or next about it. And there is a Near AI showcase day for Brussels. I just tweeted the link from the Nearcock account and retweeted from my own, if you're interested, which is actually a perfect segue. Are you going to Brussels?
No, unfortunately.
Oh, come on. oh, you've got children and a job. What's excuse?
Yeah, I sure.
They won't remember you were not there. They're like, what, 2 or something?
They are 2 and 5 years, so. Yeah, actually,
Maybe the 5 one will have daddy issues afterwards. That's fine. It happens to all of us.
it's only 4.5 hours by car.
See, think of the sacrifice that some people have to do. I'm flying almost 16 hours, and I'm flying a shit airline because it's the only one that has connection from Asuncion to Madrid. So that's a double sacrifice there. You're on a 4.5 hour drive. I'm sure that the view is beautiful too. Is it like what, countryside, mountains? It's almost enjoyable to do. Put on this podcast.
Yeah, totally.
Probably not even a threat of dangerous animals because you're in a road trip in Australia. The risk of a kangaroo suicidally jumping in front of you is definitely not zero. You better be very careful. But in Germany, Belgium, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, totally. German roadways are great.
The motherfucker going at 300 kilometers an hour. It's sad because of whatever Pepe tokens dumped.
Yeah.
Look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the planning sheet for all the events that Near is going to have. Obviously, the Ethereum community and basically all the other ecosystems are also going to be there. It's like super heavy and chunky. To be honest, from Europe, ECC is the only one that I would consider going to if I have to travel. If I'm in the city, fine. Travel to conference, definitely ECC is the only one that it's worth it. And when I make myself some enemies, this is the only year that it will not be held in Paris because they're having the Olympics in Paris. So this is the only year that people are going to enjoy the city. No one's been to Brussels, but no one really likes Paris. So yeah, it's going to be a special one for sure. The next big event for the Near ecosystem is going to be in Thailand. And as much as I'd like you to go because that one is also going to be mad, it's definitely getting a little bit far if you're in Germany with a family. So dude, pack up the fam. Talk to your wife, be like, hey, road trip to Brussels, go see the European Parliament or something. Like, I'm sure it's going to be a fun family holiday.
Yeah, we'll see. But I don't have high hopes that I will go. Sorry.
Fair enough. No pressure. Think about it. I'll send you the alpha and let me know what you think. So, I know we've been going on for a while. Last time we ended without talking about the most important thing, which is Shitzu. I want to now ask you if from the range of things that you work or have worked on, if there's anything else that we should cover. I know that you have your own projects with, what's it called? Shroom Kingdoms. I was going to say Magic Shrooms, and I was like, no, that's something else.
Oh, yeah.
Shroom Kingdom, you know, the chess on chain.
Yeah, it's now called Protocol Paul.
Nah, it's an alliteration. I like it.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, like the plan is to develop some stuff for Shitzu now. And actually, I wanted to continue with the chess game as well. I also got a grant from Near Gaming. There will also be a milestone-based grant attached to that to launch Invite Hot Wallet. So we'll see.
Interesting. So I know that when the Here wallet came out, huge, a lot of users, they have a bit of an attitude problem. My understanding is that their sell or their pitch to the wider Near community is that anyone can develop an app to be inside the Here wallet. Can you give me like explain it like I'm 5 explanation of how that Telegram application works? Like, how should people think about creating something that can be presented through that Telegram wallet? Because your wallet now has, I think, over 10 million users. And I think Meteor wallet is also going down the Telegram route. So there's probably an opportunity there, right?
Yeah. Well, I would say the big selling point for Hot Wallet is that you can open a link inside Telegram and it will open that application and you are automatically connected with your Telegram account near wallet. So you don't have to click a button, connect your wallets, create an access key, stuff like that. You just open the link and you're connected. And they are currently the only wallet that can do that. And Meteor is also on Telegram, but they don't have this feature where you can connect your Meteor wallet inside a Telegram application. I really hope that Meteor will also develop something like that. But yeah, that's the big selling point, I would say. I'm not sure what their plan is regarding what kind of project they want to launch. I am in a Telegram group with them, but it's a little bit silent, and there don't seem to be many projects launching there. But I don't know in which Telegram chats they are as well. So yeah, I sometimes ask questions there, and I sometimes receive responses, sometimes not. But yeah, like to communicate with really hard with them. I'm happy that my apps have been whitelisted, so you cannot open arbitrary applications with a hot wallet. You can only open whitelisted applications.
But in terms of, say, I'm developing a Sudoku game.
Yeah.
On chain, because why not?
Good
What would be?
require some? Yeah.
You have to encrypt the solution, obviously, because otherwise
you have to encrypt stuff. But
yeah. Okay.
it's not like chess.
So I'm launching a Sudoku.
Yep.
Yeah, there's too many rules in chess, and it's like yeah, exactly. The end game is unknown. Sudoku, you know what the end game is. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, how should I think about it if I develop it the traditional way, where you access my decentralized app on a browser and you log in with my Near wallet or Meteor, whatever? What's the difference, really? Like the tech stack of doing it that normal way or legacy way, or doing it within Telegram? Is it like a Telegram SDK or something?
Here wallet has their own SDK. So normally you would use the Near wallet selector library to connect or to enable your users to connect all these different Near wallets that exist. But Here wallet also has their own SDK, and this is a little bit more specialized version, but it has almost the same API, the wallet selector. And with this, you can allow users to connect their hot wallet if it is opened inside Telegram. And from the stack side, you can just develop a regular web application, and the only difference really is the wallet connection. Or you can even develop it in a way that it can do both, either wallet connector or hot wallet connection. This already works, for example, with Ref Finance. If you open Ref Finance in hot wallet, then it auto connect and you can do a swap. Or you open it.
So all it's doing is rendering the actual application inside Telegram. You don't have to develop for Telegram.
No, you don't have to. No, you just use their SDK to get access to the hot wallet connection.
That's cool. And why chess? What's your history with chess?
Oh, I don't have history with chess. I've never been a member of a chess club. I have some friends that are in a chess club, but like I have never been playing it actively. And why chess?
Did you play as a child?
Yeah, sometimes. I think chess is just like a cool game, and it was really easy to develop it because in Rust there are already existing chess engine library that can compile to WebAssembly with just using one of those, modifying it so that it can be used on chain, and yeah, that's how it started.
That's awesome. And from the existing Rust chess engine, how easy or how much work would it be to start customizing the game to make the most of some of the blockchain native properties? Like, for instance, let's say that you've got a chess game, but you create the pieces as NFTs. So basically, different artists can sell their artwork for the pieces. And you can have a chess game that the pieces are like whatever, medieval, and one is like star fighting or something. Or maybe you could have it so that people place a wager on the game. Maybe that's a little bit easier. Whoever wins takes a part. Maybe people can accrue reputation and have like their own decentralized ranking.
I already developed wager game. I also developed ELO ranking. And I also
didn't do my research.
And I also developed betting so that you can bet on other wallets to win against someone.
Oh, shit. Wait, can the wallets playing see who has bet on or against them?
Yeah.
You should probably hide them because I'm open to insider trading. Do you want to play a wagered game. I'll put down how much is 10 year these days? I don't know. We'll put down 10 year, and then I'll get my mom to bet against me, no, on me. Anyway, I'll figure it out. I'm not losing money on this one. I'm not winning, but I'm not losing money. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And the game is available on chain now, so technically we could actually rally people who come and play, because you have to play in real time with someone.
No, it's not in real. It very, like, the main problem is it's very asynchronous, and the V1 version of the UI has been developed on the boss, and on the boss you cannot interact. Like, once you send the transaction, then nothing happens, because in the boss you don't know that the transaction has been sent. There's no way right now to check this and interact with it.
Now that you mention it,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure you and I have a game going on in that V1 boss version, because I definitely started the game and I did 1 or 2 moves, and then the problem with the boss is I don't know how to find the game again. I need to find particle points.
I developed also, like the stale matches was also a problem. I developed something to just clear all them out.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can play. It's just that it's asynchronous. Yeah, that's something we probably got to think about. Make it like time bound, 10 year to play or whatever, 1 year. After 2 hours, if you're not there, 2 hours after your turn starts. If you haven't played, you lose some money.
Yeah, but what if you go to sleep?
That seems like a you problem.
And also, how do you notify the other person?
Don't start the game.
I have been
gonna go to sleep.
I have been in the boss notification system, because these notifications on the top right.
Fuck the boss.
Yeah, it's like, how do you let the other user know that it's his turn? This is one of the main problems. The other problem is the matchmaking right now. It's hard to find someone to play with. If we both agree to do a match, then we will have a match. But what if I want to play against Ilya? Like, how can I tell Ilya that he should accept my challenge?
I can DM him. I think this is where the shortcomings, and if you really want to make the challenge, I can DM his assistant. This is where the shortcomings of the blockchain come in, and you just got to think of, hey, in the most pragmatic way, how can we organize a chess tournament? We can do that shit on Twitter. We can do that on a Telegram group. Like, trying to rally people to show up and play can be done in whatever works, at whatever stage the project is at. The on-chain experience works enough so that when people show up, they can play to completion. We can bootstrap the rest.
So, also, by the way, Wager matches are not, like, they don't yet have a UI, but they are only input. Also, betting does not yet have the UI.
Almost engineering.
Yeah, I did not want to do it, because actually I think it should be audited before someone puts money into it.
I thought you were going to say, because you thought that the betting should be secret. It can be an illegal betting round.
I know, it's all on my GitHub.
Did you see what happening between Kraken and Certic?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A few days ago, Kraken started reporting that there's been some security vulnerabilities, whatever. I only saw the drama this morning. I don't know exactly in which order, but basically they found out that the person has been stealing money from them. A Certic auditing company. And after they've been found out to be the ones that have been stealing, now they're saying, oh, by the way, we were white hacking, so why don't you pay us now for the privilege of us returning the money we stole in the first place? And I'm like, I'm going to have to check the timeline here, but there's something about the white hacking that I think implies you tell them you took the money. You can't just fucking take the money, and if you get caught, you offer to... Anyway, it's the craziest shit, dude. I don't even know what's going on anymore. There's too many crazy stories.
Yeah, definitely need to watch out for the story, how it's continuing.
For sure. I guess that was a way for me of saying, don't audit shit. I think at this point, auditing increases the risk.
Yeah, also, auditing is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
You can just trust me that I did not do any bug. I have a lot of...
But you did mention that Rust is great for catching things before it goes into production. And Ilya has been talking about humans having some limitations, but AI being able to to some stuff. So maybe not like right now for big stuff, but for small stuff, I don't give a fuck. Let's be honest. If the smart contract fails and I lose my money for a technical glitch, I'm going to be less pissed off than if I lose my money because I don't know how to play chess. It is what it is, right? Like sometimes you lose, sometimes you win.
Sure. Okay. I think it's quite late already here.
I think I can hear some birds chirping in the background.
Maybe those
Ah!
children, I don't know.
Children chirping in the background, that's new. Awesome set, friends. Thanks so much for joining. I think this was a lot of fun. I definitely had a great time. I hope that you did as well.
Totally.
Thank you for sharing the alpha. And if people wanted to get in touch with some business proposals, some technical talk, questions, death threats, where should they, maybe not the last one, where should they contact you?
On Telegram or on Twitter.
Cool. I'll make sure to include your...
You can link my Telegram in the...
I'll link your Telegram and the Shitzu group as well. You're very good and active there. And yeah, I try to link everything that we talk about, but sometimes it's just too much alpha. People have to listen carefully. Also, Mario, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you as well.